What's up, YouTube? I've got a really cool video for you guys today. I competed in Pokedaxi's PvP tournament. Now, this isn't the first time I've done this. This is the second time I've competed in his tournament. Last time, I went on an insane run in the winner's bracket. I won every single game, and then I faced someone who came back from out of nowhere in the loser's bracket and ended up beating me twice, and I ended up getting second place. So that was really unfortunate, and I never got to battle Daxi because of it. But this time around, I was so eager to make it work. I ran an extremely meta team, and I decided I am going to win this whole thing, and that's exactly what I did. No spoilers, but I do get to battle Daxi. So today, what we're going to look at is my first battles against my very first opponent. It was a 2-0 in a best of 3, and unfortunately, I don't have any other of the recorded battles because the rest of the battles were streamed, and unfortunately I couldn't stream them and record at the same time. So we're just gonna do the first couple battles with the first opponent, kind of talk through what I was thinking when I was going into this, because it's a show 6 pick 3 format. So if you're not familiar with that, it's how the regionals are done. Basically, each opponent, each person has 6 Pokemon to pick from, and you can see your opponent's team, you know their movesets ahead of time, and then you choose 3 to battle any of their 3 that they choose. And of course, that part is blind. But yeah, you know what? Without further ado, let's just hop right into it. So the first match was up against an opponent named Toast77, and Toast had Shadow Drapion. He had Azumarill, Fortress, Diggersby, Shadow Jumpluff, and Gastrodon. So a pretty meta team for my opponent as well, except he does have a core breaker for my team, and that is Fortress. So when I look at my team, I see that not a single Pokemon except for Marowak has a good matchup into Fortress. So I know he's going to bring that Fortress, and I know that my opponent is hoping to core break me with the Fortress. So I need to lead strong to it. That way, if I bait it out in an ABB style, then I can punish it with Marowak, and if I don't, then I can just catch it on the lead. So my first initial thought is, okay, I need to neutralize this Fortress. I'm going to come in leading with my Marowak. My second thought was, what else is relatively neutral into his team? And I looked at all of the matchups, and I was like, Jumpluff looks really, really neutral. It is kind of neutral in a Drapion, believe it or not. It's a hard wall to Gastrodon. It's neutral into Azumarill. Obviously, Ice Beams are double super effective, but we resist bubbles. It is good into Diggersby, even if we're not running Energy Ball. Because they can't go for Stab, Scorching Sands, they have to go for Fire Punch, which is super effective, and then at best it's a mirror match with the other Shadow Jumpluff. So those two, I'm thinking I'm probably going to bring every game, and then it's just about what I want as my second or third Pokemon. What I'm worried about catching on the lead with my Marowak is either the Jumpluff or the Azumarill. So I'm thinking I need to have a safe switch that is decent into those. So if we hop right into the first battle, you're going to see what I chose for my first 3, and that is Marowak, Dugong, and the Jumpluff. And we get a fantastic lead in the first match, leading our Marowak into his Fortress. So we predicted that right, and he safe switches a Gastrodon, which is absolutely crazy in an open team sheet format where he knows I have a Shadow Jumpluff in the back. But now that allows me to connect with an Acrobatics that does huge damage, and my opponent can only go for non-stab Body Slams here, which are not very strong, so I can just let these go. I can overfarm pretty significantly here, and now I'm going for the Aerial Ace to pick up the knockout. The reason I'm doing this is because I think I can make it to a move against this Fortress, because he is energy dry, and that's exactly what happens. But I'm baiting, because this will force my opponent to throw energy earlier, and we even grab a shield. And he actually ends up over farming, allowing me to get to another charge move, full sending the Acrobatics this time. It connects, that does big damage. We have switch advantage, we have shield advantage, and we have health advantage, so we are in an absolutely fantastic spot. He does have a little bit of energy on this Fortress, but I can just come back in with my Marowak. He's going to throw a Volt Switch and then switch into his Jumpluff in the back. So we read his team absolutely perfectly, because now we can connect with a Rock Slide, come in with a Dugong, and upon seeing my Dugong, Toast decided to just resign the match. Into the next match, I thought, you know what, Drapion looks pretty safe into his entire team, so this time I'm going to lead it, not expecting him to lead his Fortress twice. But my opponent actually does lead Fortress twice, so that makes me think that he's running a very similar team as he did last time. Obviously, Drapion is weak to ground, so we do have 2 ground answers in the back with Dugong and our Jumpluff. He ends up sniping with the Gastrodon. I'm still able to get a crunch off on the Gastrodon, however, I now can align my Jumpluff onto their Gastrodon. At the same time, I also called a bait on the lead, so I'm not down any shields. He did not full send the Earthquake, he did only just go for the Rock Tomb, so... but now it's this same matchup here. He's kind of stuck in it. I'm just going to go for an Aerial Ace and go for an Overfarm, because if I can farm this down with Fairy Winds, we're going to be in a really good situation. And my opponent, upon realizing that, ends up pivoting into their Fortress. But this is where Fortress isn't great, because Fortress is down energy in this matchup, and he's forced to commit shields. And I can just shield back. I can always just play evens. Jumpluff will very comfortably be able to knock out from this range with an Acrobatics, even though he did debuff my attack. And this Acrobatics picks up the knockout. Is he going to come in with his final Pokemon? He is, and it's an Azumarill in the back. I know he knows that he's debuffed my attack, so I may as well full send the Acrobatics, not expecting him to shield, and he doesn't, which is good. I end up going for a Ice Beam catch onto my Dugong, but I am unsuccessful. However, I know I can shield this up because there's no chance he's baiting here. He does end up full sending the Play Rough, and then I was going to throw the Icy Wind on CMP, but he makes a really nice catch onto the Gastrodon. This will knock the Gastrodon out, and now we just have a 1 shield Azumarill at half health against 2 of our Pokemon in the back. He is able to connect with a Play Rough. I know 1 charge move is not going to be enough to KO, so I've decided that I may as well debuff his attack first, so that way I can live another Play Rough. And you know what, for the hell of it, I may as well get a catch onto my Jumpluff as well. This will be the Play Rough because my opponent was not throwing Ice Beam against a Dugong, and I actually survive it on 1 HP because of the debuff. I'm able to click the Acrobatics, and we are able to take that win. So yeah, a very strong lead. I was able to read Toast like a book, unfortunately for him. I ended up going on a crazy win streak once again in the winner's side bracket. I didn't drop a single match. Actually, that's a lie. I dropped 1 match against an opponent, King OWT, I think it was, and he had an extremely hard team to beat because he had such a team comp advantage, and I was absolutely core broken by like 3 of the Pokemon on his team. He had a Credilli, he had a Corviknight. There was a lot of things that were tough to work around. However, we were able to beat him 2-1, and then when he won the loser side bracket, I actually beat him. He actually ended up winning the first best of 5, but then I won the second best of 5, and I only needed to win 1 because I ended up winning the whole winner's side bracket. So what that allowed me to do is battle Pokedaxi. So for my win, I get to battle Pokedaxi, and Pokedaxi ends up running Galarian Corsola. He's got Primeape, he's got Feraligatr, Diggersby, Azumarill, and Quagsire. And at this point, I am really wishing I had a Serperior on my team. I do, however, have a Jumpluff. So Jumpluff, while it doesn't do the exact same thing that Serperior would against Pokedaxi's team, it will be a good substitute. I'm also noticing that Jellicent is extremely neutral into his team, as we have super effective Shadow Ball for the Corsola. We resist the Karate Chop and Close Combat on the Primeape. Feraligatr on Ice Beam and Hydro everything is resisted. We have super effective coverage for Diggersby. We resist Bubble and Ice Beam on the Azumarill, and then Quagsire, he is forced to go for Stone Edge. So I'm thinking between Jumpluff and the Jellicent, I'm in a really good position. And then it's like, what do I lead? I know his Corsola looks incredibly neutral in my entire team, So I have a feeling he's going to bring that on the lead. So I decided to bring Drapion on the lead and then have 2 answers to ground in the back with Jellicent and Jumpluff. So without further ado, let's hop into some battles. Here he is requesting the battle. Here I am choosing my team. Skip ahead a little bit. Drapion picks up a great lead in Galarian Corsola, and he is staying in this matchup. So he might be potentially core broken by Drapion, and this is open team sheet, so I have a feeling I know what is in the back. Of course, he probably does have Diggersby, but he might have a Zoomroll as well, but he is going to full send the power gem. At this point, I'm going to over farm. He ends up going for a crunch catch on his Diggersby, but he was unsuccessful. I'm able to hold on to my energy, go for an Aqua Tail. That isn't quite in surf range, so I'm actually going to farm up 2 back-to-back Aqua Tails once again. Chip with this second Aqua Tail, and now that he's in surf range, I'm going to come in with my Jellicent. Jellicent can absorb a Scorching Sands here, no problem, so I will just let this go. And we can actually comfortably live 2 of these. However, I'm worried about the switch timer coming back up, so I am just going to go for the surf immediately and pick up the knockout onto the Diggersby. Of course, he can just come back in with the Corsola, and he does have residual energy, so he can pick up the knockout here with a Nightshade, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Honestly, Jellicent might live this, and we do on 1 HP, so I'm going to click the move, but he makes a really nice catch. It is the Feraligatr in the back, which explains why he couldn't switch into the Drapion. Down energy. At this point, I'm going to come back with my Drapion because Shadow Claws are resisted. I'm going to go for an Aqua Tail bait here because he has 2 shields remaining and a Shadow Feraligatr. But once I grab that first shield, I am full sending the crunch. I want to grab that final shield from Pokedaxi, and now I can come in with the Jumpluff. Jumpluff, this is a 50-50 bait call. He's at enough for a Hydro and an Ice Beam. I call the bait. It is the Hydro bait, which is absolutely huge. I then go for 1 in the move, and he makes a really nice catch on his Corsola. The issue with this is I need to undercharge and come out loaded with energy so that I can throw the charge move right away, but I undercharge too much. He's able to get to a charge move, and if he is at the Ice Beam, then this game is over. But I'm able to click the move, Acrobatics from this range, picks up the knockout onto the Feraligatr, and we are able to take that win, potentially off of a 1-turn lag, I believe, because I don't even see a Shadow Claw come through there. So. But into the next match, I come in with my Marowak into his Feraligatr. I'm just going to quickly explain why I decided to come in with my Marowak on the lead, and that's because when I looked at his team and saw his Shadow Feraligatr, I realized something, and that is his Shadow Feraligatr has a positive matchup into every single thing on my team, assuming all bait calls. So I decided, you know what's one Pokemon that can beat Shadow Feraligatr? Yeah, it's my ground type Pokemon. In the 2 shield scenario, Marowak wins that, and it comes out with energy. So you know what? I'm like, you know what? This is kind of a weird play, but I'm going to lead my Marowak to beat the Shadow Feraligatr that I expect to be on the lead, and we actually read him like a book. We've got Shadow Drapion in the back because it's neutral into wide variety of his team, and then Jellicent, which is also extremely neutral into the rest of his team. So not even bringing the Jumpluff this time, but we're just going to play out this matchup. Pokedaxi ends up going for a CMP tie, it looks like, there onto the first Bone Club, which means I get an entire Mud Slap in for free, and that means I'm going to be able to outpace to 2 moves, which is absolutely huge. Here comes the first Bone Club. We already have him deep into the yellow. Here comes the second Bone Club. Is he willing to commit 2 shields is the question. He is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait the turn, catch onto my Jellicent, and hopefully we've caught the Hydro, and we have, which is absolutely huge. And then in comes Galarian Corsola. But Galarian Corsola, with no shields to hide behind, and slower pacing, is going to be met with a super effective Shadow Ball that does massive damage, and I'm even able to get to a Surf as well, so this will pick up the knockout onto the Galarian Corsola, which means we have completely removed it from the field of play. In comes the Feraligatr. He only has enough for 1 charge move here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my Marowak. I'm going to Mud Slap farm down because I don't know what's in the back. And it is a Primeape. So I go for 2 Mud Slaps and I wait the turn to try and catch a Rage Fist onto my Drapion. However, I am unsuccessful. He does let me outpace though and make it to a Aqua Tail. He's had enough for a Rage Fist plus a close combat. Is it the close combat? It is. And now he knows he can't survive 1 fast move one fast move if he goes for a fast move. So he throws the charge move right away. That allows me to get the Mud Slap farm down, and then Mud Slap farm down the Feraligatr, so we are able to take that win. But yeah, that was the Pokedaxi PvP tournament. I finally got my redemption, and I was able to battle Pokedaxi. He put up a great fight, to be honest. Those two battles were probably way harder than that. I shouldn't say that. I was against a bunch of really good Legend players, but he did really well. And honestly, if it wasn't for the lag that he was experiencing while he was battling from Osaka, Japan, then I have a feeling these matchups would have been a lot closer. But I really do appreciate it. So special shout out to Pokedaxi. Not that he needs my shout outs, but it was a fun time, and I appreciate when he hosts these PvP tournaments. And then also a special shout out to Golf Professor for hosting these tournaments as well in the Pokedaxi Discord. But yeah, that's going to be it for me from this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.